Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Nonprofit Spotlight series. This is Grayson Harris. Today, we are joined by Lori Wilson. She is the executive director of the American Red Cross of the Central Valley chapter, and they are doing really great work out in Central Valley in terms of disaster preparedness and response, really through their incredible volunteer network. Lori, thank you for coming on and sharing more about the work that you're doing. How is everything going for you today?
Going great. It's going great so far. Not had any wildfires so far.
Well, on that note, tell me a little bit more about the work that y'all are doing for the American Red Cross, and really, what does that look like for you in your region?
So in our area, are a rural community, largely rural community. Although the city that I'm in, Fresno, is actually the fifth largest city in the state of California.
Mhm.
Although because of its sprawling, people don't realize that. But it's surrounded by agriculture and the mountains and are faced with, a lot of disaster risks in terms of flooding and fight wildfire. Particularly, those are the two largest risks, as well as heat, extreme heat, because we do get in the 108, 110 desert type climate, so very dry heat. And so that's a very high risk that we have here as well,
Understood.
particularly because being agriculture, people working outside in the heat. So we are spend a lot of our time trying to educate and prepare our community for those factors and around those factors because it is rural. We have a lot of small communities and small pockets of communities, and we've tried to work with our partners, trusted partners in the area. We're a very diverse community, a lot of diversity here, several different languages spoken in the area, a lot of Spanish, a lot of Hmong, a lot of Punjabi. So we have to make sure that we have volunteers that have the ability to communicate and partners to communicate in those various different pockets of communities, so we can make sure that we're working with the population and connecting with.
That's incredible. I love what you shared, and I would love if you could get some more context into what you see as the role of the American Red Cross, one in kind of disaster preparation and kind of prevention versus what the actual kind of response arm of that looks like. I know there's a bit of kind of misconceptions maybe in the public eye.
Yeah, so I think sometimes in the past, the Red Cross would roll in and we kind of did tried to do everything. But we realized, especially as the pace of disasters has increased,
Mm,
the size of disasters have increased. The communities that are impacted are the same communities that are impacted over and over and over again. And so we recognize that we cannot do it all. We have to
mm,
work alongside. We have amazing partners. We have people that are in the communities that are doing the work. And so, how can we work with those partners, with those organizations, those trusted organizations, those trusted whether it's a community center, a church, grassroots organization. How can we work alongside them and bring the resources that we have to support the work that they're already doing and help that community prepare for the disaster ahead of time? And then when the disaster happens, work alongside them to care for that community. So that, especially in the communities like what we have, the rural communities, the farm working communities, the diverse communities that we have to be able to do that. That's a lot of the work that we spend on what we call the
mm.
blue sky time, working alongside and developing that trust, developing those relationships, and understanding that need. What is a need? Because it's not the same everywhere. The need over here in this community is not the same as what it is over here. And so we need to make sure that we understand those needs and that we're providing that need in the way that they want to receive it.
I love that, and a part of that really comes from listening and creating that partnership, right? And
Absolutely.
how does that come about? Does it is it, community partners reaching out to you? Is it you going out into the community to looking for the leaders, looking for the organizations that are creating, that, change and that impact? And really, how do those conversations get started? And then what is your role in that relationship?
It's kind of both. So sometimes it might be, well, I'm out in the community and I'll be at an event or I'll be, sitting on a community group call, and we'll just start talking and we'll be like, what, we need to have a conversation because I think we have some things that align. And so it might be me contacting them and going, how can we support you? Or they might be like, what, we need to. So sometimes it's both. And then it's just sitting down and talking. And I had a conversation with a young lady the other day that she was just talking about a dream that she has, a passion that, and I'm like, I know just the people we need to connect you with. Somebody that's in our organization, another group that another organization. Let's not just bring it together and make it start happening. How can we support this? And how can we be a part of helping that happen so that for our seniors, for our farm workers as they're aging out, how do we support them as they're doing that? And she had a
With resources.
so it's just a conversation that's happening, and it's like, "Okay, who do you know? How can we do?" And that's a lot of times how it just happens, or it's, I'm sitting there going, "Okay, we know we have this risk over in this community. Who is the trusted organization? Who do we need to be talking to? Because we know that they're at risk. We know that they might not understand what we do because the Red Cross, maybe in another country, isn't the same as it is here." And so they might not understand what we do here as opposed to in the other country, right? So who do we need to be talking to so that we can have that communication and understand the needs and understand, so we can have it. So it's just really a conversation, making sure that we're being
Yeah.
honest and forthright and just really listening, a lot of listening.
And I think it speaks to one of the unique advantages within the nonprofit space, right? Is that there is an opportunity to truly collaborate. And
Yes.
through that, the community that you serve can really be further kind of enriched and more benefits from that. I know a lot of nonprofits in the space sometimes do struggle because there is this sense of competition in terms of funding and in terms of within, servicing the same community. How have you navigated that in terms of communicating to your donors and communicating to your team that collaboration is integral to the success of y'all's mission? And how was that? And has it always been that way?
So, well, we're very fortunate. I mean, so because of what we do is pretty specific. So there's like, if we're working with an organization that, there's some funding that we absolutely can't go for that doesn't fit what we do. But a lot of our partners they do go for because it does fit what they do because it's very specific. So there is that. So we are operating oftentimes in a different space. But we are very fortunate, especially in disasters, especially the large disasters, where because we are so trusted, a lot we receive a lot of funds, and then
Mm.
we're able to put that money right back into the community, and then in the long-term recovery, so once we start moving into long-term recovery, we're able to reinvest it back into the community and into other organizations that are
Mm.
doing the work in that long-term recovery space. So we actually are able to support the work that these
Yeah.
organizations are doing because our donors are so generous in those disasters that we're able to do it. So it's not competing, we're actually able to then give back. And so it's
Yeah.
really we're, by sharing that with our partners, it takes some of that weight off
That
to where
burden.
I think to where they understand that no, we're not trying to compete with you. And this is not about we really are here. How do we support and make sure that when we step out of the disaster response, because you're still there, what does that look like? Because we are only one piece. We are one small piece of that. And
I hear you. Yeah, kind of allowing you to create those sustainable
Mhm.
impacts that's going to
Yeah,
last even after maybe Red Cross has stepped out of that area and stepped out of that disaster zone.
yeah.
I
We
love that.
want to be good partners. We really truly do because it's about the humanitarian. It's about the humanity. We want to care for. We want to leave the community as good as we want to leave it as good or better than when we arrived.
I love that. And if you could share a little bit more about your background, I know that you actually were in Alaska, I believe,
Yeah.
also with the American Red Cross and some other organizations. What has your kind of nonprofit journey been? I'm sure that, in terms of you're now servicing a rural community, was that really formative in terms of understanding the differences, maybe in the needs of that type of community?
So I actually came to Red Cross from Big Brothers Big Sisters, where I was the development director for Big Brothers Big Sisters for 7 years in Fairbanks, Alaska. So working with youth, right?
Yeah,
Being a mom, of course. So taking care of youth and making sure that youth have caring adults in their lives has such a huge impact, right?
of
That
course.
organization is, of course, near and dear to my heart. And then, of course, I also have a child with special needs, and so I work very closely with Special Olympics and other organizations like, that support that community. So through my personal life, I understand the power and the crucial needs of the nonprofit world. And
I
that
love that.
we all have to work together. None of us can do this work alone. And I bring that to my work here actually is because of, my first fire response. I will tell you, it's my very, very, very first home fire that I went to is what absolutely sealed it for me, why I'm here. And because for me, it was like, I now get to do for other people or be a part of doing something for other people what was done for me and my family. And it's not because I was ever served by the Red Cross from a home fire, but I have a daughter who has Down syndrome. And when she was born, she had to be medevaced from Fairbanks to Seattle. She was 2 days old, medevaced. And my oldest was not even 3 years old. And I'm like panicking, like, how the heck am I
Mhm.
supposed to leave my daughter? Right. And my mom said, I'll get her to you. So we're on medevac getting down. And I'm like, get to Seattle. And worried about how she's going to find me. How are they going to find me? They're not going to know where to go. They're coming to this big city. Just, all the stuff.
The
Worried
moving
about
pieces, yeah.
Lauren, worried about my youngest, worried about them, all this stuff. And the social worker at Seattle Children's Hospital just put her arm around me. She said, "We know they're coming. We're looking for them. We will get them to you. You don't need to worry about anything else right now. We've got where you're staying taken care of, where they're staying taken care of. We know they're coming. You just focus on Lauren right now." And my whole first home fire, they're watching their whole everything, their life burn. And I'm standing there with them and they're just looking and they're worrying. They're like, where are we going to go? What are we going to do? What's next? And all the stuff. And I put my arm around them. I'm like, you don't need to worry about that right now. Right now, we've got you.
Mm.
And in that moment, I realized this is cool.
You're able to pass it forward.
Yeah. This is what we get to do. This is what our volunteers get to do. It's what we get to do. We have this honor of being able to help people. Our volunteers take that very seriously, and I just get to be the voice for them.
I love that, and your perspective on that is amazing, and that was a incredible story as well. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. It's
Yeah.
just I get to be the voice for them, and I get to be the voice that partners and figures out how do we do this and work with other organizations and other people so that we're taking care of people. Because all that matters is that we're taking care of people. Our egos get checked at the door. That's what if we gotta check our egos at the door, and that's what's important, and that's what we try and make sure our donors understand is it's about taking care of people and being good stewards of your dollars so that we're
Mm.
making sure that when what you are trusting us with, we are putting back in and making sure that we're taking care of the people that you're trusting us to take care of with your hard-earned money.
But that's the right perspective to have, for sure. I love that, and, as we look to the end of the year into next year, what is going on for you, in your organization and in your community right now?
Understanding that, cadence of disasters, they're bigger, they're more often, we don't have seasons anymore. They roll one into the other. We used to
Mhm.
have fire season, we used to have hurricane season, we used to have tornado season, and now they all blend. They don't, So we know that we have to have more volunteers. We have to have got volunteers that want to deploy. We have to have that. We have to have volunteers that want to stay home. So we need more volunteers. We need more partners. We need people that we can work alongside. So we need to really work in the communities. We need to be more connected with and understanding and building our partnerships within the communities so that understanding how do we support the communities so that they're taking care of themselves, utilizing our resources that we have the ability to provide. And we need the donors. We need the people that are providing that financial resource because one of the biggest things that people mistake is that think that that we are a government agency. We are not. We are not. We are a 100% a 501(c)(3),
Yeah. Just wanna
and
Yeah.
and we don't get government funding to respond to disaster. We don't have grants. The biggest pot of money that we get from the government is from the Department of Defense to pay for the infrastructure for our emergency communications so that we can make sure that we are able to make sh to get
Communicate.
family members for our service to armed forces, for our military members that we're getting those emergency messages all over the world. And then we have people all over the world able to make so that we're taking care of our military members and their families. That's it. The rest is our donors. So people are
That's
like,
amazing. Yeah.
They got
It's
all the money,
the
but
scale is
because
kind of
we're
hard to think
mandated.
about. Yeah,
Because we're mandated by the government. We have a congressional charter where with mandate to respond, but they don't pay for it. And that's okay. We don't want them to pay for it because with
of
my
course.
government money comes a lot of strings.
Yeah, and we're seeing that right now.
With government money, because we need unrestricted funds. We need to be able to do what we need to do, and we need to be
And
able to
be
take care of everybody.
agile and be able to adapt to those changing
Yep,
situations,
yep.
100%.
We need to be able to
Well
take care of everybody.
well, as we kind of reach an end here, is there a piece of advice or a lesson that you've learned, stepping into this role that you would want to share, with our kind of non
Check your ego. It's really, it's not you talk about the competition, right? It's really yeah, there's finite funds. Yes, we're but when you can collaborate with each other and you can show your donors that you truly are collaborating, that you truly are working together to meet the need, you are going to have a bigger impact. And when you have that bigger impact, the donors are going to see that and they want to support that. They want to because they want to see that impact. If because the donors are going to speak, they're going to give to what their heart gives, and they're going to give to what the impact is. They're going to have their priorities. That part you don't, so don't be worrying about that part of it. And if you're collaborating, truly collaborating, you're going to have a better impact, and you're going to really get a lot more work done. So I think kind of checking your ego at the door, give credit where credit is due, take credit where credit is due, but you don't have to take credit. If you're doing the job, people are going to give you credit, but give credit where credit is due, and be willing to just support each other in the work, and don't be afraid to, of course, reach out to to your other partners and ask for help. That would be probably the biggest thing. I think sometimes we think that if we can't do it all, we're failing,
Mm,
and we're not. So that is, I think, would be the biggest thing. I think that that's probably the biggest lesson I've learned because I think when I first started at the Red Cross, we were like, "No, we have" and I was like, "Why?"
mm,
And we've figured that out that the old way of thinking is that doesn't work. We have to partner. We have to work alongside. We have to. And by doing so, we are just doing so much better. We are taking such better care. I saw it in LA.
mm,
I see it from and how much better, great, I know that we're running out of time, but, great example was that when I got a call from a mayor going, "Can you do this?" Every place else I'm calling, they keep telling me no, and I'm like, "You know what? As a matter of fact, we can.
mm.
As a matter of fact, we can take care of that for you."
It's amazing. Well, Lori, thank you for coming on and sharing more about the incredible work that you're doing in creating a sustainable impact for your community, really through fostering that collaboration. For our audience that's listening in, how can they get involved? How can they find you and your organization?
They can go to redcross.org/volunteer if they wanna volunteer, or
Yeah,
redcross.org/donate.
amazing. Okay, well, thank you for coming on and talking and sharing more about your work.
Great, thank you so much.